Go.
Howdy YouTube, a fistful of goats here, and last night I went 3-1 on my locals with Swordsoul. And since I've been able to put up a video in the last couple of weeks, I thought I'd do this quick one here. So let's get into the profile. Starting off, for the Swordsoul package, we have 3 Moye, triple Long Yun, and double Tire. So with this ratio, I mean, Moye is obvious. This is something you always play at 3, because it's a 1-card synchro. All you need to do is reveal another Worm or Swordsoul to get your token. In addition to this, because it can chain block, it guarantees you a draw and a search. This guy was actually the MVP of the whole event. Twice its burn effect won me the game in time, and the level 10 synchro is actually surprisingly powerful with the trap. This guy is just another name, and is good for the second turn of the game once your grave is filled up. That's all to say about that. With the Tenny engine, I'm actually playing a bit less of a Tenny build than a lot of decks are. We got 1 Adhara, 2 Vishuddha, and 2 Ashuna. Now, I'm not as big a fan of the Tennies as a lot of others are, because I think as the game goes on they get less and less good. So I chose this ratio because I do think the Tennies in small numbers do help the deck's consistency and have a push forward. So yeah, there's that. And finally, because we have 2 Ecclesias, I play 3 if I had 3. It's any Swordsoul in the deck, it helps consistency, just an all-round good card. For the hand traps, we have triple Ash, triple Veiler, triple Nibiru, and triple Draw and Lockbird. So for the main, I chose these because there's a lot of comboing in my meta. So obviously this is great for breaking those boards. This is good to stop some starters like Tour Guide. Ash is just the best hand trap in the game, and obviously Draw can neutral a lot of combo decks if they can't go searching for their pieces. So yeah, I think if I play this deck again, I'd probably put in the Cyframe Driver engine, because this deck also hurts quite a lot if you get ashed. So that's one change I would make if I play this deck next time. And that's all the monsters. Moving on to the spells. Quite a small package here. We got 3 Emergence, the 1 Desires, and the 1 Sacred Summit. So Emergence, it's the rotor for the deck. Search it's probably going to be what's going to get ashed the most, in all likelihood. Desires, well, with the level 10 synchro, this is just insane. This should not have been put to 1, but I still play the 1 off in case I draw it. And with Sacred Summit, it's another Swordsoul name in the deck to trigger the effects, and in the late game, a Monster Reborn effect can actually be really good. And this is where my build differs from a lot of others. I've actually played more traps than usual for a more controlling game. Start things off, we got triple Solemn Strike. Honestly, I think I changed these to Solemn Warnings next time, because this is a lot less flexible than I thought it would be, but still pretty powerful against certain matchups. Triple Ice Dragon Prison, which I messed up with big time in my 1 loss last night. I'll get to that when I get to the sideboard. I'm actually going to play triple Blackout. Again, this deck's built to grind out, so the more removal we have, the better the deck is. And to search all of these, we play the triple Trap trick. That's all for the main deck. Let's get on to the extra deck. We have 2 Monk of the Tenny and 1 Tenny Shaman of the Tenny for our links. Just there to get our Tennies off the board and extend our plays. Not much more to say about that. For our synchros, we have 2 Shijiaos, 2 of Shenyang, I think that's how you pronounce it. These are my go-tos all night. I think Shenyang is actually very underrated, because most players do just go into Baron de Fleur instead of this with their level 10s. But we combine it with the trap. This can pop 3 cards, and it's very difficult to remove with things like DPE because of its effect. Not to mention, if you can get Desires off, this thing can be an OTK by itself. Which I won my very first game of the evening. I got these 2 on the board, along with bringing back one of the main deck monsters, and that was enough for an OTK. For the other synchros, we have 1 Berserker of the Tenny, This is supposed to be a Baron de Fleur. I actually borrowed it for the event, so I don't actually have it on camera. one Emancipated Dragite, because you can get a water in the grave very easily with Moye, and potentially search for, get a rock off the excavation with Nibiru. So that's synchros. We have Shen, because a Macrocosmos effect can be devastating for certain decks. We play the Yangzing package. We play Omega, which is another reason I would go into the Cyframe package if I play this deck again. And Crystal Wing. Didn't go into this much, but it's nice negate. And finally, for the side deck, some more hand traps first. Triple DD Crow and Triple Artifact Lancia. Lancia was really good tonight, actually came up a couple of games. This stops any banishing, so it's good against things like Invoked, which I saw last night, and he didn't show up, but there's a Thunder Dragons player at my locals as well, and this is amazing against that. And this is just a way to out DPE, just banishing the DPE from the graveyard. It's also good against the Sky Striker players at my locals, because you can take something like their Engage out of the grave. Twin Twisters, there's a Mystic Mind player at the locals, enough said. We have Lava Golem and Direst the Pankratops for going second to break boards for the Pendulum players and the Invoke player, and that's mostly boarded against. And finally we have Dimensional Barrier, because there was a lot of Albaz decks with the projectors coming out, so this was a good counter to that. So yeah, that's the list. Thank you guys for watching. The next big video should be out next week, hopefully. See you guys then.